All right, so hi, I'm Mr. Butler. Again, we're going to continue on with conditional statements and some other things. So, review of what we learned last time in the last video. Okay, you have your conditional statement, and our conditional statement always has 4 parts. You start with your if, right? You have your hypothesis. Okay, you have your then, and you have your conclusion. Okay. So, the best way to start any situation with a conditional statement is to start by breaking your conditional statement into its 4 parts. If, hypothesis, then, conclusion, okay? And writing them out like that. And also not forgetting your shorthand, okay? Because shorthand is important. It makes your life a lot easier. So, let's do that here. We have our first part, which is our if. Stays the same, okay? Second part, we have our hypothesis. Now, hypothesis, as you may remember, is shorthanded P, okay, or P. All right, and that would be I ride my bike. All right, we have our then, which is shorthanded as an arrow. Okay, that's our then. We have here. And finally, we have our conclusion, which is shorthanded as a Q, okay? And our conclusion here would be, I go fast. Okay? Now you've broken your conditional statement into its 4 parts, its 4 component parts, and you now have your 4 pieces, okay? You have your if, which often gets dropped off. You have your P, your then, and your Q, right? Your hypothesis, then, conclusion, right? So the shorthand for a conditional statement, right, is P to Q, right? Your P, which over here says, I ride my bike. Your arrow, which is then. And your Q, I go fast. So if I ride my bike, then I go fast, right? Those are your first 4 parts. Now, we're going to add 2 more parts this time, okay? And the negated hypothesis and the negated conclusion. And I'll explain what those are. So, all right, I'm going to make these guys a little smaller so you can see the last part. If is my if, right? P is I ride my bike. My arrow is my then. And my Q is my conclusion. So, what we are going to work on today is your negated P and your negated Q, or your negated hypothesis and negated conclusion. So, to negate something, oh, didn't spell that right. Okay. To negate something, what you are doing is you are making it the opposite. Okay? You're making it the opposite. So, if you look at your hypothesis first, I ride my bike. We want to negate the hypothesis, right? What we are trying to figure out is our negated hypothesis, okay? So, if we are saying I ride my bike and we want to make it the opposite, negate it, right? What is the opposite of riding your bike? Not riding your bike, right? Not that hard. A lot of times negation will just mean adding a not in front of something, but basically it's just making the opposite. So I ate dinner, I didn't eat dinner. I went to school, I didn't go to school. I broke my leg, I didn't break my leg. Just the opposite. That's simple, right? So if we are negating my hypothesis, of course, shown over here, I ride my bike, right? I don't ride my bike. Okay? So you have your normal hypothesis, I ride my bike, and now we have our negated hypothesis, I don't ride my bike. The opposite. All right? So, just like this is a P, the shorthand for hypothesis, the negated hypothesis is a P again with a little squiggly line in front of it. Okay? I call it squiggly P. You can call it whatever you want. Negated hypothesis, right? P with a little squiggly in front of it. Now, we're going to do the same thing for our conclusion, right? Negated conclusion, right? So my conclusion, I go fast, down here, right? I just wrote conclusion. I go fast, right? Again, negation, to negate, is to make it the opposite. So what is the opposite of going fast? Not going fast. Or going slow. You can use either one, right? Opposites, okay? I'm going fast. I'm not going fast. I did my homework. I didn't do my homework, right? It's just the opposite. So if my Q over here, my conclusion is I go fast, my negated conclusion is I don't go fast. Okay? It's the opposite. All right? And now we know our Q over here is our conclusion. All right? And we're going to throw a little squiggly in front of it. Right? So this is the shorthand for negated conclusion. This is the shorthand for negated hypothesis. It just means you're making the opposite. Right? So now we have our original 4 parts. Okay? Our if, which is if. Our P, which is our hypothesis, or I ride my bike. Our arrow, which is our then. And our Q, I go fast, or our conclusion, right? And now we have 2 more pieces. We have our negated hypothesis. I don't ride my bike, right? It's the opposite of our hypothesis. Squiggly P. And we have our negated conclusion. I don't go fast. Squiggly Q. So now you have all 6 of your pieces. All right? So what I will ask you to do in the next lesson is you will look at your statements. Okay, you'll break them down just like this. If P, then Q, negated P, negated Q, right? And then I will ask you to rebuild them in different ways. Okay, if you have all your little puzzle pieces, putting the puzzle back together won't be very hard. Okay, and we'll talk about that in the next lesson.